Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the Madcatz Mojo. The reason I picked it up because I think it's a quite interesting piece of technology, but is it still worth picking up today? That is of course the question of today. The device itself came with the Play Store included, but also comes with powered by Nvidia Tegra. But there was a little bit of a problem when you're looking at the Play Store, because I've noticed there was one particular problem that I was facing when basically they're booting it up and trying to install some programs. Somehow my Madcatz didn't came with the Play Store. Yeah, kind of weird, but it happened. So when it comes to the specifications, it comes with a Tegra 4 processor, it runs on 1.8 GHz, 16 GB of storage and 2 GB of RAM. The reason I just wanted to pick it up just to see if you can basically emulate and play some games on this. The first thing I really like is the way how the box is, and yeah, the box I cannot open it up. Let's see if I can open it up and keep it in okay condition. Let's slide it out and let's see what are we going to get inside the box. There are a couple of different versions. I personally really like the presentation. This one isn't in very good condition. You can see like it does have some water damage over here, but the overall quality and the presentation is very nice. So you can see there is a power supply with it, but here you can see there is no controller. What I find a little bit weird in my opinion, like we have a lot of these things for sale without the original controller, unfortunate. But doesn't spoil the fun. Let's take a close look at the system itself. In here we do have like some extra things. For example, we do have like, we have the dongle for the controller, but there is no controller. I did ask the seller, but he didn't know. He basically used this Android box for displaying, but that's it. Inside we do get some information like manuals and that kind of stuff, but that's the only thing that we're going to get. So this is the only thing that I'm going to get inside the box itself. The Madcatz Mojo. I personally really like the way how this thing looks. The power supply itself is, let's see, a kind of weird of voltage. This thing has like a 5.2 volt 3 amps. So when you're looking at the power supply, it's not your typical one that you will find with your Android box. So another thing, let's take a close look at the Madcatz Mojo. Alright, so let's take a close look at the Madcatz Mojo, and let's boot it up for the first time. The previous owner did give it a big reset, so it's basically back to square one with this thing. There is no application installed, and I was quite disappointed to see there is absolutely no firmware update possible, but also there is no freaking Play Store. We do have like the Mojo software, but it doesn't bring you to anything. It's like a page that has been taken out of the air, so nothing happens. So when you go into any applications, that's it. To my surprise, there was no Play Store whatsoever. And kind of weird, but also confusing at the same time. I don't really understand why there's no Play Store on this bloody thing. And that was like the biggest bummer I had with this Madcatz Mojo. There is no way of basically like sideloading it. There is no application whatsoever. The Tegra zone, everything is basically like not working whatsoever. So we can mess around with the Bluetooth, your basic settings. But unfortunate, that's the only thing that we can change out. The main problem with these old Android devices is that we're going to get ourselves a really old Android version, 4.2.2. That's it, like it's freaking old. It's like prehistoric if you ask me. So in that case, there isn't like an update out there. I think the latest version was 5 plus or something like that. But unfortunate, there is no way of finding an update. I did some messing and digging around with it, but I couldn't find it. And yeah, it's absolutely a freaking nightmare. So we do have like this broken brick. And so far I can see no way of sideloading games, or better said sideloading apps like the Play Store. And so far I know there was nothing to do with this, including this stupid website. But also when you're going to press the system update, that's it. We're going to get an error message and nothing does work on this bloody thing. Then we have like the software update that is built in, but there is no way of doing any sideloading. We can update the firmware, I'm guessing, from this point on, but I can't find the freaking software for this. And yeah, so that's the biggest bummer. The first thing I really like about it is the design itself. I don't like the black piano look on it because it's going to be like scratch sensitive always. But the overall design is pretty damn cool. A little bit same like the Nvidia Shield. When we're looking at the connections, then we have like the option for an audio jack out or an headphone jack input for the power supply, the weird power supply to be honest, and with the 5.2 or 5.3 voltage. Then we have like the HDMI out, there we have an option to enter a micro SD card, RJ45 for Ethernet, and then we have like even the option for an USB 2.0 and the 3.0 port. But the question remains, is this thing any good? So let's plug it in and let's see what are we going to get. But okay guys, so a little bit of a bummer with this model. There was no Play Store, there's no way of adding new, let's say, applications through a side loading method. And I was looking into the firmware and everything what you can do with it, but unfortunately there was no way, or I couldn't find any update. So I was like basically giving up about this project, and guess what? I found, yep, another one. And this one does have like some similar, let's say, specifications, but it actually came with the original controller. So the first thing I've noticed with the box, here you can see like this thing doesn't have anything else beside the Play Store. But when you're looking at the different box, there you can see like this has the Ouya logo on it. So that's in other words one of those indications that we'd have like a newer model. I asked the seller if this thing came with a Play Store and we can actually install some applications, and he said it was possible. So I was thinking, you know what, I paid around like 35 euros for it, so I just want to give it another try. And that is what I did. This thing came even complete with the original freaking controller. That is something I always wanted to try and to see what is this actually something, or like what is actually about this controller, is it any good? And I can tell you like the first impression was very positive. This thing feels very clunky, heavy, a little bit of an Xbox 360 feeling to it. The joystick feels very nice. The D-pad's absolutely horrible with this click to it, but we're going to give it a try. We have some extra features, which you can see are top over here. We can like adjust the volume. We have a back start button. So this thing is actually made for an Android box, and that's just the reason I just want to have it in my collection. Then we do have like the option to, or better said, we need to basically like add some batteries. Kind of weird. We do have like say a micro USB port in here and a micro USB port. I'm guessing this is for a firmware update. There's not a lot of information about that. But let's take a close look at the system, because kind of weird is like you don't see anything that has been changed. It's still got the same voltage 5.2. No, nothing real, like 2.5 watt max power consumption. So we're comparing both of the systems. You don't see any differences here. So it's more like a software part they updated. So that's what we're going to do. This thing also came with the dongle. So we're going to plug it in. We're going to see what we can actually play on this, because I'm really curious. Let's take a quick peek in the box itself. What we're going to get more. Is there any difference? I think we do get ourselves the same stuff. This one does include an HDMI cable. Here you can see we do have like a special manual, or a printed manual that explains what it can do. Like here you do have like, you can see it's kind of interesting. This is all in German, but basically it says here how you need to install some applications and stuff like that. So absolutely a different model. So I'm curious actually what we can install and what we can play. I didn't show you the manual before, but this is basically like what it came with. But let's hook it up and let's see what are we going to get with this bad boy, and was it worth spending another 35 euros. The first thing I noticed that this version does also have a completely different layout. We do have like the option to make a Google account, so that's a good thing. So I just want to check none of the boxes. Or yeah, I do want to check it out. But nevertheless, so basically let's set it up. Let's log into my account. I do not really recommend it because it's a very old Android version. We're going to set everything up, and then we're going to try to see if we can basically install something. Here it actually like go to the Google service. That was something the other one didn't even ask in the beginning, because I booted it up and it was like booting up into the Android part instantly. Here you can see that we do have some new applications. So this thing does run on some different software. Here we see like we do have the Ouya app. That thing doesn't even work anymore, but that's not the point. You do have like different like kind of option. We do have YouTube on it. So we have like different kind of style of menu. So everything looks way better and newer. Okay, we have like the Explorer and stuff like that. But yeah, so let's set this thing up. Let's log into my existing account. And I can tell you like it seemed to be working. And somehow my cable internet doesn't work at all, but my wireless does. I can log into the Play Store, but again, like I would not recommend like putting personal details in it, like credit cards, but this is like just for review purpose. I just like basically log into my account just so I can download applications. And then we're going to face the first problem. With the first problem, I mean like a lot of stuff doesn't even work. It's not compatible. I understand for some of them of the application, but this file manager seems to be possible to install. This one too. But installing it, that's kind of weird. Pressing accept, it says no connection. But I'm basically like, what the hell? Like I'm logged into my internet, I'm on the Play Store, but it says no connection. Because of the prehistoric 4.2, 4.2 is basically the same version like the first one I'm having, it has no compatibility with a lot of applications. And I cannot really sideload anything from this point on. So there's no way of basically testing out stuff. Okay, so we do have like some new applications from Madcatz, and we have like some quite interesting thing that we can do with it. Here you can see like it even have some options for different like hardware you connect to this thing. Quite interesting, but nothing really interesting for now because it still doesn't fix the problem. Explorer, here you can see like it signs in browser, but still we cannot really do anything. Action. The conclusion is that I basically like wasted another like 35 euros getting this thing and it doesn't work. Nothing seems to be freaking working on this thing. I give the system a reboot and even plugged in the cable itself. After some messing around, I had some internet with the cable, but you can see like it keeps giving me the message. If I'm saying okay, install, accept, that's it, no connection, and it keeps giving me the same error. The other unfortunate thing is that we have no way of updating this system too, because the servers are apparently offline. So yeah, that's what we're going to get with the Madcatz Mojo. Great. But let's take a close look at the specification list. When you're looking at the list in general, I think it's quite interesting. Let's say specs. Of course, it's surprising to see Nvidia inside a completely different box. A great collaboration back in the day, and this thing has a lot of potential. Unfortunate when it comes to the software, there we do have like a lot of problems, and we're also going to do a side-by-side comparison, and I will talk about later what I mean with this. So I was looking at the specification list of the Nvidia Shield Portable, another old device, and I mean like old in a very old way when it comes to the Android firmware itself. But when you're looking at it and you're going to look at the Madcatz, we do see some similarities. I did a review about this product and just checked it out for you guys, just to see what can we do with it and is it worth picking up. But when you're looking at the specs, I already mentioned, we do get some similarities, and that is the reason I want to do is more like a side-by-side comparison. Unfortunate, it's not like the same chip one-on-one, that would be like so much easier. But I did some quick recordings, like a capture from the Nvidia Shield Portable, just to give you like an idea what you can do with it. So the Tegra 4 chip is a very old chip, I know for sure. In combination with some emulators like two-dimensional stuff, 16-bit era, they run just amazing and you can just have a blast. So if you can get yourself like an emulator installed, you can have like a really cool cheap emulation device when it comes to the old school stuff. If I'm saying it correctly, the Tegra chip of the portable is running on 100 MHz faster. But despite that small difference, I know almost for sure that we can basically like play some PlayStation 1 on this device. Of course, nowadays we do have so many products that can play this. But again, for an oldie like that, I think it's pretty damn cool.
Now, let the show begin.
Round one.
The biggest challenge the Tegra chip will meet is basically when you're having like some SSPP emulator installed. Some games will run on it, but some games are running pretty damn horrible. And there's going to be a lot of tweaking. It was also like with the Nvidia Shield Portable. So when it comes to PlayStation Portable, it's playable, but yeah, you're going to get not a great result. And even the Tegra chip inside the Madcatz Mojo is running slower, so we're going to get like say less performance. And of course, if you want to play some God of War and some more demanding games, you need to tweak a lot with it. And with the portable of the Nvidia Shield with the Tegra chip 4 in it, I did manage to get some games like God of War actually working. But you need to tweak so much that the game looks kind of dark with the TV output. And also like the experience is not like you really want to play. Because this game really shines when you have like everything on maximum settings. Mine version, better said, like both versions I'm having here, it's absolutely a freaking nightmare. Number one didn't even have a Play Store, and the second one don't have any, let's say, functionality that are working on it. I can log into my account on the Play Store. It's not really recommended with a very old Android, but I wanted to download some emulators and some apps, but nothing works with mine. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this. It's unfortunate because this thing does have like a lot of potential when it comes to playing some retro games, if you can pick it up for cheap, but at the position it's now, or better said the condition, I would say avoid it. Just avoid it. Maybe fun for collectible reasons, but besides for playing, it's absolutely not worth it. Well, thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, and it will be great to see you in the next video.